Well, you look beautiful. And I know that where are you right now? Are you in Canada?
I'm in Vancouver. Yeah, that's I'm in my backyard in my patio right now.
Nice. Well, so I never know where you are because I know you have lived and worked in LA for so many years, and then you travel because you've got the Hollywood summer camp, but now you've got like the London. Is it spring camp? I'm forgetting when all these things are happening. So.
Well, home base right now is Vancouver, which is where I'm from originally. I mean, as you know, we met in Los Angeles, and I was there from 2001 until officially 2016. And then my family and I relocated to Vancouver.
Mhm.
Now that we have three kids, it's just a much better pace of lifestyle for family. But my business, Menina Entertainment, is still based in Los Angeles. So I still have all my US addresses and phone numbers and bank accounts and all of that. So I still operate my business out of Los Angeles, even though my physical home office is in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And my events are everywhere. So I have the Hollywood Summer
Right.
Tour, which is obviously in LA. I have the London Spring Tour. This summer I was
I was
going
right.
to London. You were right. You're right. And this summer I was going to launch the Vegas Summer Tour, but 2020 had different plans.
Right.
So I had to put that on pause. So those were all my intensives. And then in addition to all of that, of course, I'm always traveling and teaching and judging for other companies across North America and even in Europe. But I literally traveled to the very last day possible. I was in London. We literally just finished London Spring Tour, and then the lockdown was announced. And that's when the borders started to close, and we were told to hurry home, and then we had to do the whole 14-day quarantine. So I've not traveled since March, I think 17th.
Yeah.
Which for me is like a record because I feel like I usually live out of a suitcase.
Yeah.
So my new normal has been a lot different. It's funny because I always begged about, I wish I didn't travel so much and let out of a suitcase and away from my kids all the time, and it's just really strenuous. And then this happens, and I'm like, ouch! Be careful what you wish for.
I know. Well, how old is your newest? He
He is my son. He was born April 10th, so that makes him, well, he's 2 months,
2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So slowing down is okay.
Yeah, the timing actually couldn't have been more perfect because I already was like the London trip was already going to be my last hurrah before I do a little maternity leave, so to speak.
Right. And yet you're still working, so you're not really.
Well, maternity leave for me is like not traveling. I mean, like,
right.
But yes, I obviously, as you know, as a mompreneur, there's never really a break.
Right.
You're always, whether you're breastfeeding the child on one hand and on the computer with the other hand, and then a phone over here.
Right. Well, and I saw on your, I don't know, it was Instagram or something last night, like you guys are setting up shots in your home office, and I'm like, she is not stopping. And then I don't know if you liked something in the middle of the night. Somebody was liking something at like midnight. And I'm like, why are we all up? Like, we are all up.
I know. I was up at I think about 3 o'clock last night. My husband got some new equipment, some new lights and a boom, and we were testing out cameras and because we've got a new online event, which I'll talk about in a minute, that we're getting ready to launch. So we're just kind of testing out some new gear because ultimately we will be running events from home. So we're trying to make that happen. And so the whole family, the kids included, were up till 3 o'clock in the morning playing in the home office.
Well, in an entertainment family, they understand, and sometimes that means that you get to sleep in and have pancakes the next morning. You just never know, right?
Yeah, I mean, the whole family's asleep right now, so I was able to escape. I nursed my little one. I'm like, okay, babe, you got him. I'm out.
Awesome. Well, so I know that you have a very long list of credits from TV and film, and I know people know you from Star Trek, and I'm and conventions, from hereafter on that. But Brittany and X Factor, and I would be here for days just talking about all the stuff that you've been into. But how do you see yourself navigating this new online space? Because it has been here. Not everybody has taken full advantage of it. And now we all have to. It's kind of like, if you don't, it's not going away. So how do you see yourself navigating that?
Well, I've always been a fan of the online platform. The only challenge that I've had especially with my intensives, is there's nothing that replaces the live experience. And because my programs really highlight the city as well, and taking them through the city, it's harder, obviously, to do that in an online digital space.
I've always looked at you for, different futuristic things, because you've been like in the computer space, if you will. You were doing websites when no one was doing websites. Yeah. And I don't even know if you still do that, but you were in it before a lot of people were in it,
In that regard, yes. I mean, I guess I was trying to think. I think I had my first website in the late 90s, which at the time was not a common thing. Like, I remember signing with my first agent in LA, DDO at the time, and I was like, hey, check out my new website. They're like, ooh, wow, this is cool. And I designed it on Homestead, I think. It's not even a company anymore, but exactly. So old school. And I was really big on online marketing. This was before social media was even a thing. But then social media really, I feel like, hit it big, maybe 2010-ish. And that's when I had my first baby. So I was really active online. I feel like I was maybe ahead of my peers in that regard at the time, but then I got distracted with mom life. And then this whole social media thing just took off. I mean, I remember MySpace, and then there was Facebook, and then Instagram, and then there's Snapchats and Musically that turned into TikTok. And I mean, it's just blown up to the point where I'm like, whoa, I can't even keep up anymore. Like, it's a lot. And I manage multiple profiles between my personal pages and my business pages. And it's just, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
So in the social media world, I felt like, not that I missed the boat, but I didn't ride the wave at the beginning, a lot of the younger generation, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, technology is always been a part of my world, and I've always used the internet as a way to do business. But to actually host an event online, that is definitely new territory for me, and I didn't think I was going in that realm. I mean, I just remember having a conversation with a client a year ago, and she was like, would you be willing to choreograph some routines for our studio, but send us a video? And I'm like, so we're choreographing online? They're like, yeah, because they live in a very remote area where they don't have access to a lot of teachers, and sometimes they bring in people. And I did physically go in there for like a week and choreograph, or 2 weeks, sorry, and choreograph like 30 competition routines in 2 weeks. And it was like, bam, a lot. But prior to that, they're like, yeah, we take choreography all the time online. And I was like, wow, I mean, that's cool. That's awesome. And I was just having the conversation briefly with that same client. And I'm like, I was laughing inside thinking of you guys, because here I was like online teaching choreography. I'm like, how does that work? And here I am scrambling to create a new virtual online digital experience. So I'm like, whoa. And I think all of us are trying to navigate, and it's like a crash course. We're all becoming Zoom experts all of a sudden. I remember hearing about Zoom like 6 months ago when one of my friends, she does webinars, and she's like, yeah, my Zoom meetings. I'm like, what's that? And then my kids started homeschooling because of the lockdown. So I'm like, okay, Zoom, how does this work? My kids are doing online dance classes. I'm like, how does this work? And then I'm like, wait a minute, maybe I could actually use this new technology to my advantage. And
I feel like it's created better. It was not made for dance classes. I've talked to some people about this, and they're like, this is not the biz.
No, I agree. The technical elements, there's definitely some things that make it a challenge, but hey, maybe there's a techie out there that will create something innovative that will be a platform for more dance related classes, because I do agree that Zoom is great for like a meeting, but it is challenging when you're trying to sync up sounds and cameras and lights, and I don't know, it's just a lot of technical elements. And I think as artists, we're more artistic and not as tech savvy. So we're having to turn on our tech hats and learn crash course really quickly. A lot of YouTube videos on how to
Right.
dot, dot, dot. And I'm sure all of us in the dance community, especially like the dance studios, like literally had overnight had to turn their entire schedule of classes and hundreds of students instantaneously online. So, you know, there's a bit of a learning curve that we're all going through. And I know some people that have resisted and they said, no, I'm just going to wait it out until we can go back in person. But then as I follow the news day by day, then I'm noticing, wait a minute, this is not a temporary, like, oh, we're going to go back next week kind of conversation. Like we keep hearing news and it's like, oh, 2020 is canceled. So like nothing's happening in person. We just found out yesterday that Broadway shut down until 2020.
All that. Yeah.
Today just filed bankruptcy yesterday. Like it's really hit the arts, especially live arts, in such a huge way. So now we're all trying to figure out ways to reinvent our business models and figure out how can we bring the arts and dance specifically to the world in the online space, which in some ways could have some advantages. You know, being able to do an online event now opens up the door to having the entire world as your potential attendee / client. Whereas in our in-person experiences, you have to fly, you have to get hotels, and it's more expensive. It really requires more out of your customers. Now, literally, they can plug in, tune in from the comfort of their own home, which to some extent has its advantages.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I know that you have a slight disadvantage of not being in Hollywood for the Hollywood, you know, summer tour. But, you know, there are, I mean, and this is just me off the cuff, but if people are willing to be part of that experience from a distance, you know, there is nothing wrong with having a studio tour that is virtual, or, you know, and obviously you can't have the experience of going to like Disneyland or Universal Studios, that kind of like, I'm riding the ride, but you might, like, there might be the virtual like glasses and people like, I mean, I remember Captain EO way back in the day, you know, virtually in a ride. I mean, there are, just throwing it out there.
We're going like 2050 right now.
I'm just saying, I'm just going to put it out there. Glasses. and I, you know, I don't know if you have watched that movie Ready Player One, but that's how I feel like we are going that direction. Ready Player One, it was Steven Spielberg, and it was about virtual gaming. And I feel like, and you could feel the game, so to speak, as you played it. And I think that that's one of the things, like you were saying, the in-person instruction is hard to duplicate online. But if you could feel it, meaning the energy in the room virtually, or if you could feel the instructor, you know, tapping your shoulder and moving, you know, moving you into the right corrected position, it could happen. I'm just saying.
Hey, I mean, we never expected to be in this space with technology, so anything is possible. If somebody creates a technology, I mean, if I can figure it out, I'll use it. But yeah, I mean, I maybe I'm old school in that the in-person experience that, you know, everybody wants to touch, feel, smell the experience. I don't think they'll ever really replace that. And I hope that we don't replace that. I really hope that all dance can still be something that we experience in a live way, whether it's through instruction or whether it's from performing. But I think there is room for the online world as well. And some ideas that have popped into my mind is like, okay, great, I'm starting this new online experience in August, the International Summer Tour. We're taking you all around the world and classes and the studios in Los Angeles and Las Vegas and London and Vancouver. So we're giving the viewer the travel experience of, we're going to be in this studio in this city, and then the next day we're going to be in another city. So that is a cool component. But then I'm also thinking, well, maybe in the future, as I go back to my in-person experience, maybe we're live streaming those in-person experiences so that the person that maybe couldn't afford to take that trip and can actually do a modified version of that experience in the online platform. So then we have both options. So instead of one or the other, maybe we can have both. And that would be something that I'd like to explore. So if the international summer tour that I'm planning in August can be successful, then it might be a new business model that I keep going. It might not just be a summer thing. Maybe it's a quarter thing. Maybe, you know, we tap into different genres. Like this first one is really hitting various styles of dance. Maybe we do one that's more classical based, another one that's more street based, another one that's more ballroom based. I mean, we can go into so many different worlds if we really want to. I mean, these are just ideas that have been brewing in my head because, you know, I stay up late at night thinking about, okay, so where are we going?
What are we doing?
I've always felt like I knew where my future was headed. And now for the first time, I'm like, wow, like, am I going through a midlife crisis? Are we all going through a midlife crisis?
All together.
All together. And, you know, I'm kind of, you know, dealing with postpartum and just, you know, healing from birth, which is a huge life change. And I've done this 3 times now. And so I've got, you know, I've got 3 kids, 2 dogs, a husband, a business, and trying to like make sense of it all and keep my sanity in the process. So it's, I mean, as corny it is, we're all in this together. It's like we are all really going through this together and we're all dealing with it in different ways. And, you know, in the beginning, I was in denial. I was thinking, oh, this will just phase off. By the summertime, we'll be back to normal, no big deal. And then this got really real. And like, okay, this is not just in the summer. Now we're thinking next year. And then I read an article that said life won't be back to normal for 2 years. And I'm like, whoa. So, yeah, now it's time for all of us to really put our thinking caps on and our innovative ideas and figure out a way how we can incorporate our skills and talent in a digital space.
Right. Well, so when is this international, you said it's in August, international summer tour?
Yes, so IST, standing for the International Summer Tour. It's August 3rd through 9th. So it's a week-long intensive. We're doing classes, like I said, in Las Vegas, Los Angeles, London, and Vancouver. So we're hiring some professionals in each of those cities, in professional studios in those cities. It'll all be live streamed through Zoom. Already confirmed, we have Karmeet Bahar from Pussycat Dolls. We have Bill Wright, the creator of Disney's Fam Jam. We have Johanna Sapaki, I think is her last name, from Las Vegas, who's incredibly talented, who was like Jennifer Lopez's personal coach and did the Super Bowl. Also a Cirque du Soleil artist. My sister, Menina Fortunato, who's also now a former Cirque du Soleil artist because she but she was on tour before all of this. She's doing some acro. We have Catherine McCormick, who was the lead on Step Up Revolution and So You Think You Can Dance All-Star. We got G. Madison, who's done work for every artist you can imagine, Lady Gaga, Mariah Carey. We have my husband, who also has an incredible resume.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
I just interviewed him like a few days.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, people, if you go back a few days and you'll see all about G. Madison. Yes, definitely.
Oh, that's awesome. He's great. He's been working with us for a few years now. So, yeah, we've got some new faces in London. We have Swoosh. He's the creator of Flawless, which is they're well known for Britain's Got Talent. And then we have Leighton Williams, who's the lead star of Jamie the Musical. So we're really tapping into, we have this salsa world champion, Linda Ayantes. Like we have from the salsa world to the contempt world to the musical theater world, like we're really, the Cirque world, I'm trying to make it as a holistic experience as possible to tap into all the different genres. I realize not everybody is strong at everything and that's okay, but we're not, you know, we're here to try new things. I mean, we're literally all trying new things right now. So it's a great time to explore and try different genres. And then we're adding the educational component as well. So we're doing some webinars on nutrition and marketing. We're bringing in some of the agents. We'll also be doing a Q&A session. And then we'll be awarding some scholarships to our in-person experiences in London, Vegas, and Los Angeles for 2021. We hope.
Yes. Well, I feel like that is so much to do and organize and, you know, rally people around. So more power to you for being a mom and also doing all of that because, you know, people have different schedules and it's hard to just wrangle so many people right now. I know that people are at home, but they're still at home busy, you know, doing whatever it is that they're doing. So what do you see? Because I just want to get your take. Oh, sorry. Let me back up. Where can people find the IST? What is the website that they can?
danceist.tv. Sorry, my dog is barking.
Boom. Danceist.com.
TV.
Oh, danceist.tv. Awesome. Well, hey, we are all working from home, so I sent my husband.
My dogs are barking.
He wants to be part of this. He's a show dog, right?
Totally.
So, well, I had another interview where I wanted to like crawl through this camera and get FaceTime.
They see somebody on the trail, I think. Hi, what do you guys see? Who's there? Oh no, don't jump up on me.
It is the nature of the beast, right? We are live and in person. So I think the what I was gonna say is as far as the next thing, like if you could predict the future as far as what you see is, you know, what's coming next? What do you think people should jump on? Like, what do you think is, besides teaching online or taking class online as far as being a student, you know, that whole thing, what do you think we should all be headed toward? I know that social media has so many apps, you know, whether it's LinkedIn or Periscope or Twitter or Snapchat or, you know, TikTok. I mean, which one or, you know, which space should we all be in right now?
You mean like a social media platform, or are we
Well,
talking?
just in general, I threw that out there, but it could be whatever is on your brain. Where should we all be toward?
Where should we all be? I feel like the dance teacher world is living on Zoom. Whether that should be where we are, I'm not sure. Maybe there's new technology that can be created that would be more dance teacher friendly, but for the time being, we're all on Zoom. Instagram seems to be obviously where we are right now. Very popular amongst the younger generation. I also think that for the performers out there that are not everybody's a teacher, not everybody wants to teach. So for the performers, I think this is also a time to be innovative in creating new performances, new shows, and live stream those shows in some capacity. I mean, when you think of even the acting world, we took live theater and we've made movies and we made TV shows. And why can't dance live in a similar space where we're creating dance without the live audience per se, but a digital audience? So maybe we're putting on shows with no audience, but everybody can tune in and buy tickets. Maybe we can start watching Broadway shows from the comfort of our own home in some capacity. But I know with the physical distancing issue right now, we'll probably do more solo shows than
one woman shows.
One woman shows, or if possible, flash mob to 6 feet apart.
6 feet apart. Oh my God. Yeah.
I read actually the industry standards for BC, because Vancouver is Hollywood North. It was like making my head spin because they're encouraging talent, because they're opening up production soon, and they're encouraging talent to have the distance on camera. So I'm thinking, okay, so how's that going to work for choreography? Are we going to turn everything so there'll be no partner work? and everything is going to be like a flash mob where we're all 6 feet apart. So is this all outdoor shots? Because I don't know how we're going to fit indoors by being distant from crew and other dancers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's really hard to imagine like how we can adapt to that, but
yeah,
I mean, these online interviews that you're doing right now, I think is a great way to connect with people. Podcasts,
podcast.
that's become a thing. Like Swoosh from Flawless, he's doing podcasts now, where he's bringing in guests like we are, in a digital space and doing interviews, and even dance performances. I think the Dance Awards just had their event, and in addition to their convention, they had guest performances. So, that's something that we could explore as a community. I know that casting is also taking things to the home. I spoke to my agent recently that was telling me that they're now doing more virtual casting. So the casting world is also going to be changing to where we'll be doing our auditions online, and then callbacks are on Zoom. And then they're even, for one particular project, there was a casting where they were hiring a mother and a child, but they also wanted to shoot at home. So they would send one, like a very minimal camera crew, maybe just a 1 or 2 camera crew, and now our homes are going to be our sets, where they'll be filming at home. And heck, for families like mine, we have the camera equipment. So
right. You're ready to go.
Filming. I was talking to my husband, making jokes last night. I'm like, so is our home office going to turn into like a filming studio now? Are we going to start buying different backdrops or green screens now that, and we're going to be, filming content from our home office? Like, is this a real thing? We were joking about it, but it could be a legitimate thing where we have different backdrops because we want to change locations of where we're at, or themes, or events. And like, even for IST, I'm planning on having a banner. So instead of seeing this beautiful greenery, which is nice, I want to have my logo, and I'm going to be nicely lit, and I could be in studio.
Home studio, right?
Home studio, but give the look of a professional.
Yeah.
So that's real. Like that's 2020. Thanks, COVID.
Well, maybe we can get together and start selling in-home studio kits.
Hey, that's another business model. Seriously, because seriously, like, you need your camera, you need your tripod, you need a gimbal, you need a ring light, then you need some basics, and then you might need a boom, and then you might need some lavaliers, and then you might need a green screen, and then you might need a package of different backgrounds. Like,
I'm telling you,
and some white and some black.
Home studio kit. It's on the market. Well, it might even be on the market right now, but hey,
who knows? Like, somebody might have already thought of the idea, but I think there's a lot of room for innovation right now. It's just we have to act quickly, and that's the hard part. Even with my online event that I'm doing, I'm literally scrambling to do an event in a month's time. Normally, for my in-person events, I'm marketing all year long. I'm planning this for months. We have registrations come in 2 months in advance. I know what kind of budget I have to work with. So I'm able to plan ahead. I'm going on a whim right now where it's like, okay, who's available? Great, you're booked, hired. All right, studio, are you available? Okay, booked. I don't, like, literally launching a website, staying up super late, boom, boom, boom. Social media posts, scrambling, artwork guy. Hey, can you scramble some artwork? I need a flyer. My video editor. Okay, here's some video content. I need you to make a little promo out of this. Like, that's my life right now. And it's dealing with clients, dealing with other vendors, dealing with, faculty. And, that's the hard part, is the unknown, the new territory, learning new technology. I'm watching YouTube videos till late at night, figuring out how do I connect sound through Zoom, and how do we do this so it syncs up well. And then do I have 2 cameras so I can actually record through Zoom, but then also have another camera that does B-roll, and then maybe I can have IST where you can buy the program after the event. So if you are available, we have a library that we could start creating. Maybe you can buy classes a la carte. So there's so many ideas that are brewing in my mind. It's just the time, you know, having to do it in such a short amount of time. And then the realities of being a mom, which I'm sure you understand.
I'm with you on that one. Well, I know that it will all come together. You'll have to tell me how it goes, because if you know, I think it's going to be successful. You already have the event planning hat. You've worn it plenty of times. You've worn the performer, the host, the back end financier, you know, the producer role. You've done it all. So I anticipate it being a great event, and probably I would think more of a quarterly event, just because the demand will be there. You know, once people hear, you know, how the first one went, it's, you know, it's already going to be, you know, generating its own word of mouth. So I wish you nothing but the best. I will post this everywhere I can, and I know, you know, hopefully people will see it and find your website and be able to join you in the international summer tour for many, many years to come.
Thank you. And we can look back at this interview and like, remember when this was just an idea?
Remember when we started talking about kits, you know?
Right? And then I'll be like, and this is our 15th year anniversary, because it's the 15th anniversary of the Hollywood Summer Tour. So it'll be the 15th anniversary of IST.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, I know that it's going to be amazing. And just because you're in it, it will be amazing. And I wish you nothing but the best with your family. And tell your husband, your 3 kids, you know, your 2 daughters will understand, but that I said hello, and I love all the stuff you guys are doing online. I see them. I see you in them. And of course, your husband as well, because he's super talented too. So keep on doing what you're doing and keep me posted, okay?
Thank you so much. Mwah. Hugs and kisses to you in this virtual space.
I know. I'll see you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.